I was told once upon a time, if you want to get a good story, you've got to go all the way. And we're going the long way. We're going via Zoom to Perth to catch up with our very own Karalee Katsambanis. Karalee, welcome.
Thank you, George. Thank you all our Informer viewers. Now, it's been quite dramatic here in Perth. Rebels bikie boss. This is an outlaw motorcycle group called the Rebels. The bikie boss was shot dead in a public place, Perth Motorplex, on the weekend in front of about 3,000 people. It has been absolute chaos here because the theory is that this was a professional hit organised by a sniper who knew the movements of this Rebels bikie boss. The bullet went straight through him and into his stepdaughter's partner, Ricky Chapman, who has been involved with bikie gangs before. He died at the scene. Now, a 5-year-old boy nearby was grazed as well. And why this has outraged police, the community and the government is this has happened in a public place with innocent families, bystanders. Anyone could have been hit with the shrapnel. Now, police have taken the unusual step of less than 48 hours later of offering a $1 million reward for information as to who actually did this heinous crime. I don't think it really matters what you think about bikies. There's been a lot of talk on radio, on TV. Some people say, well, it's a bad man killed by another bad man or whatever it might be. The issue is, the Perth Motorplex, a lot of people go there on a Friday night. It's where nitro racing is. It's where drag racing is. Big cars. It's a family event. It's a family occasion. He was a regular frequenter there with his partner and his other family members. And as I said, this is a professional hit that was organised. So they're not leaving a stone unturned. And as I say, to offer $1 million 48 hours later, they are determined to get the person responsible. There are strong theories that not only was it a sniper or an ex-military person, it is from somebody over in the eastern states of Australia who is probably expected to have left the state that night.
Karalee, you mentioned the word sniper, and that immediately in my mind suggests to me that it's a rifle. Was it a revolver or was it a rifle that fired the fatal shots?
Okay, so they're still working on that. It would all suggest that it was a long-range firearm. They have managed to retrieve the bullet that killed Nick Martin, that passed through his body and lodged in the arm of the partner of his stepdaughter. And that is crucial for police to be able to see what the ballistics will actually show, which will help narrow down the weapon. Either way, it is believed that the weapon is outlawed in Australia.
Okay. How is the child's condition?
Well, look, the 5-year-old child was just treated at the scene. There hasn't been much said about it. I think it was a graze from the bullet. But it's very interesting. It is actually very concerning. I mean, they knew who they were after, but they've shown callous disregard for families, for women, for children, because to have actually taken the shot that they did from about 300 meters away, that shows precision. There was a lot of wind that night. There were no police actually at the complex that night. It's not a requirement. It is a state government-owned venue, and everybody is outraged. And of course, they're calling for more police to be available with outlaw motorcycle gangs. I guess it's an ongoing problem. We've seen it in the eastern states. We've seen it across Australia. So we'll just wait and we'll see what will happen. They're asking anybody even watching our show, if somebody knows something, you must ring a local police law enforcement office or Crime Stoppers.
Yeah, very good advice. I can remember an incident in New South Wales and another incident in Victoria, which was part of the Underbelly murders, and it involved a shooting in front of children, which shocked the state at the time and changed, as you say, the tactics and the strategies of the police forces. And this is a story that, of course, they're looking to get very much on top of as soon as possible. Now, what else is going on? What's the other story that you wanted to bring us on The Informer?
Well, look, there's always a story about our West Australian border. So far, it is open to the eastern states with conditions. But the interesting thing this week, and I'm actually quite annoyed about it, and I think a lot of people would be, there are about 2,000 people in hotel quarantine here in Western Australia. They're returned travellers from overseas. They've got family members here and loved ones. A lot of them will actually be in hotel quarantine on Christmas Day. No gifts are allowed to be sent by them to family members. So perhaps in their suitcases, they've bought gifts from overseas. They are not allowed to be sent out. But perhaps more eye-raisingly and more surprising, the only gifts they are allowed to receive have to be opened by hotel staff. Now that seems very, very bizarre because a lot of them will actually end their hotel quarantine on Christmas Day in the afternoon, and then presumably they'll go back to family homes and be with friends and family. On Boxing Day, there are others. But it seems ridiculous. As we've said, Western Australia has been COVID-free with community transmission for more than 8 months. And I know in the beginning there were theories about how the virus would live on hard surfaces. But for goodness sake, why on earth would anybody in Western Australia sending a gift to somebody in hotel quarantine, why does it need to be opened by hotel staff if we have no COVID-19 coronavirus here in Western Australia, as we're told? It seems very Grinch-like and very unnecessary as well. I'd be interested to hear people's views.
I'd be very interested to hear the Premier's comments to follow this too, because he's been the one that's led the way for much of the lockdown and for many of the restrictions that have been imposed. Yes or no?
Well, yes, and we also had a ridiculous situation a few days ago where our national cabinet in Australia met face to face, yet our Premier said he didn't want to be anywhere in a room with the South Australian Premier, which is right over the other side of Australia, just in case he caught COVID. I mean, he was a laughing stock. I think Western Australia was a complete laughing stock for the rest of Australia, because this is just ridiculous that there is no COVID in South Australia. How on earth was our Premier going to do it? But again, he's playing from the political playbook, trying to make himself the tough man, saying that he's wanting to lead by examples to all West Australians. But it is really just getting farcical.
Karalee, thank you very much for giving us a sense of some of the stories that are making headlines in Perth. And we certainly hope that we get developments in the shooting and they're positive and we get an outcome. Once again, to you and yours, a very Merry Christmas. Thank you for your assistance thus far on The Informer. Look forward to seeing much, much more of you in 2021.
Thank you, George, and thank you to all our viewers as well.